WNBA teams have between 10 to 15 games remaining in their season, so we're at a solid point to look back at my preseason top 50 player projections ranking for 2024. Today I want to focus on some of the most disappointing players for me so far this season. To start, we have Jewell Loyd of the Seattle Storm. Heading into this season, I thought she was a dark horse MVP pick. If Seattle finished with a top record, they were extremely good. Jewell Loyd is their leading scorer. I was like, okay, she could finish top 3 on MVP ballot. It's certainly possible there. But now, having her 9 preseason, I wouldn't have her top 25. I don't even think I would have had her as an all-star either. She made in the all-star team because of Team USA, but if it wasn't for that, I don't think she should have made it. Still, 5th in the league in scoring at 20.3 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 3.9 assists. The counting numbers are good. It's more so the efficiency and how the efficiency is just a very bad sign for the Seattle team in general. So to start, this is a look at the most inefficient three-point seasons ever among players with at least 5 three-point attempts per game. Jewell Loyd's is the second worst ever, behind Kia Nurse, who shot 23.8% in 2020. Loyd is at 25.6%. Jewell Loyd is an incredibly good mid-range scorer. I'm not saying that. Like, she can score in the mid-range, awesome on pull-up twos, but as far as pull-up threes, it's been one of her career lows as well. 21.3% in 2024 on pull-up threes, on 2.7 attempts. That is down from 34.2% on 4.2 attempts last season. If you believe Seattle can make a deep playoff run in 2024, you're putting a lot of trust in Jewell Loyd, improving her three-point shooting, and just saying, this is a slump, she'll be good in the playoffs, this will all go away. I completely understand that viewpoint. Jewell Loyd is an awesome shooter, an awesome scorer in general. She is someone that is a microwave scorer, where some games she'll be good, some games she'll be bad. She just needs a 5 to 10 game stretch, and it doesn't matter what she did in the regular season. But if you look at the numbers and historical precedent, no three-point shooting team has been as bad as Seattle and won a championship in the same season. It just hasn't happened. It's not even close. I understand it's not just Jewell. Skylar Diggins-Smith has also struggled from 3 as well. But if those are your 2 main volume three-point shooters and they aren't shooting threes well, in 2024, you just can't win a championship being that bad from 3. I understand their defense is so good, and I understand that they have size inside, they have some awesome interior players, but if you can't shoot threes, you're just going to lose the math game 9 out of 10 times. But also, for Jewell, it's not even like she's been awesome at the rim either. She is shooting 43.1% at the rim in 2024. That is the 3rd worst among all high-volume rim finishers in the league this season. She's just lost a step athletically. In 2021, like I mentioned, she didn't shoot that great on off-dribble threes, but she created space as a downhill driver like none other. Has been one of the best space creators in the W in her prime. Yeah, I just don't think she's in her prime anymore. But in her prime in 2021, which in my opinion was her best season in the W, she created so much space as a driver. The burst, just such an elite athlete. I just don't think she's that same player now. The finishing has dropped by over 10% since then. So for me, overall, you're hoping Jewell can just make shots in the playoffs. That's what's going to come down to for me. They can be as good as they are defensively, but if she can't make threes, it might not even matter. Anyways, moving to the next player, went long talking about Jewell Loyd. This is NaLyssa Smith. Coming into the season, I had her 40th in my preseason rankings. The counting numbers for Smith are also pretty solid. 11 points, almost 8 rebounds, 51% from 2 and 32% from 3. The disappointing part with NaLyssa is I don't think she's made a ton of strides since she was drafted in 2022. Then she was a 38% three-point shooter on 3 attempts. Now in 2024, she's taken less than 1.5 per game at 31.6%. Also, the free throw shooting has continued to drop as well. 61.8% as a rookie, 67.7% in her second season, and now it's at 60%, which is a career low. The idea of NaLyssa Smith as a player is a lot better than she has been in actuality, because NaLyssa Smith next to Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, who is the best outlet passer in basketball. NaLyssa is an awesome athlete, an exceptional transition player. If you watch any Indiana Fever game, you can see it immediately. She runs the court super hard, is an athletic finisher, super strong there, and statistically as well, she is the best rim finisher in basketball in transition at 78% at the rim in transition, which is absurd. But beyond that, you need half-court basketball. And if it was just a transition game, I would be super thrilled that NaLyssa Smith is the 4 next to Aaliyah and Caitlin. But with her drop in three-point volume, nobody is guarding her from 3. And having that next to Aaliyah Boston, who is a post-centric player, I just don't think you could have 2 non-shooters on the court and maximize what Caitlin does well as a guard. Yes, the flashes are awesome, with NaLyssa as a pull-up mid-range scorer, doesn't take any pull-up threes at all, hasn't taken one this season. The rim finishing is super fun, but I just think for Indiana, you are looking at NaLyssa Smith as the 3rd piece on your team, your 3rd tertiary scorer, and if she's not taking threes, if she doesn't provide much off the ball in terms of shooting, and also just defense as well. I just don't think her defense has been that great either. It's hit or miss. Some games she's active, she's making plays on defense. Other times she's just disengaged. It's super weird for a player that is as athletic as her, as physically gifted. And this explains the discrepancy between Indiana's efficiency with NaLyssa off the court versus their efficiency, or the lack thereof, whenever she is on the court. When she is on the court, they have a negative 7.8 net rating compared to a plus 0.9 with her on the bench. Take that as what you will. I'm not saying she doesn't have the upside, but there are some concerning signs that NaLyssa Smith is just not the 4 you want next to Aaliyah, and then Caitlin Clark is your ball handler, and Kelsey Mitchell. But she has time. She's still super young. I hope she gets there. Next, let's move to Cheyenne Parker-Tyus of the Atlanta Dream. She was number 42 for me in the preseason. This season, 9.2 points, 4.8 rebounds, 46% from 2, 21% from 3. Compared to last season, she was an all-star, averaging 15 points, almost 7 rebounds, on 51% shooting from 2, 28% from 3. Atlanta brought in Tina Charles this offseason. At the start of the season, they were playing Cheyenne Parker at the 4 next to Tina Charles. Parker-Tyus likes playing the 4, but it was quickly evident that having her at the 4 was just not that effective of a strategy for on both ends. Offensively, the spacing was terrible. On defense, she can't compete athletically to defend like athletic 4s, like someone like NaLyssa Smith, for example. But anyways, Parker-Tyus this season has moved to a bench role. She's injured now, will be out a couple weeks at least for Atlanta. Just hasn't been great. The defensive impact is so little. She has moments, but there's so many games where Atlanta will play her a couple minutes. She'll just get cooked on defense, and then Tanisha pulls her. She either won't play the rest of the game and get benched, or she'll play and come back again a quarter or two later. Her minutes are super inconsistent because of her effort and her energy on both ends. In theory, she can be a starting 5 in the league, but I think to have her as your starting 5, you need a spacing 4. And for Atlanta, they just don't have that besides Nia Coffey, and Nia Coffey hasn't been playing that well this season. We'll talk about her in a minute. So for Parker-Tyus, having her at the 5, you need a spacing 4 so you can give her more space to operate in the post. If you don't have that, you're diminishing her offensive value she can bring, and then also on defense. I just don't think she's a rim protector for a really high-level defense either, just because both like the athleticism, the vertical pop, that's just not really her game at all. But like I said, moving to Nia Coffey has been it's been rough for her this season. 42 for me in the preseason. Yeah, if I redid this, she would be nowhere close to number 43. 3.2 points, 2.2 rebounds, 32% from 2, 26% from 3. Last season, she was one of the best role players in the league. An awesome spot-up three-point shooter, could defend 3 through 5, can communicate. all of it was there whenever she was on the court. Atlanta had a top defense whenever she was on the bench. It was a disaster, to say the least. This season, I don't really understand what's been going on, but she's really fallen out of the rotation. She plays like 5 to 10 minutes some games. Other games she'll play 15 to 20. Super inconsistent, nowhere near as impactful as last season. Moving to Zia Cooke, the final player I want to talk about today. I didn't have high expectations for Zia heading into the season, but as a number 10 overall draft pick on a team like LA that has had a ton of injuries, has a lot of young players as well, it's concerning that LA doesn't even trust her to play many minutes now with all of their injuries, having these hardship players. They brought in Odyssey Sims, they brought in Crystal Dangerfield, and all of these players have played over Zia Cooke instead of like giving her the reps on a young team. They just don't feel that confident in her. Last season, 4.8 points on 38% true shooting. This season, that is down to 3.2 points on 37.7% true shooting. For me, Shanice Swain, their second round pick in 2023, is just the better prospect. Swain from Australia is 21 years old at this point. Hopefully she comes over next season. And if she does, I'm curious to see what that means for Zia. Maybe she gets more reps in this season. She finishes the season strong. Like that's what I hope for. Because Zia Cooke, whenever she's, no pun intended, whenever Zia Cooke is cooking, I mean, she is one of the most fun players to watch in basketball with what she can do as a mid-range scorer, as a driver. Anyways, if you made this point in the video, let me know what you agree and disagree with in the comments below. I'll be back with more WNBA content covering basketball at all levels on this channel. If you have any ideas, what you want to see more of, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, I'll see y'all next time.